So, good morning. I wanted to talk about some things that have been in my mind recently, the last couple days, and I have been thinking about Dr. Hawkins. I know that I've been talking about him more, and I've been watching more of his videos. He had just this huge influence on me, and his teachings are a little bit different than like Abraham Hicks. Um, in the sense like actually in some ways like quite a bit different. um and so I'm trying to figure out how to like marry these two philosophies, because Dr. Hawkins would not talk about like us creating our reality. I don't remember him ever saying that. I don't remember him ever saying anything of that nature, and he was pretty much the not a materialist in any in any sense. So he wouldn't be, like talking necessarily about cars. About cars. Anyway, but I wanted to point out that he passed away on the same day of the year that my dad did. And I thought that was such an interesting fact, like in my life, that he passed away the same day my dad did. It wasn't the same year. He passed away um, on September 19th of 2012. And I didn't find out about it until like a couple years later. And I'm really glad that I didn't, because Chantel had passed away, and it's a good thing that I didn't know that Dr. Hawkins had passed. But anyway, so I was thinking also, like in all of this, about that when I went to college, I couldn't make a decision about my degree. I couldn't make a decision. I've had this issue my whole life. I just couldn't. I would change all the time. Like I would change from, I was a philosophy major and then a communications major and then a this major. And so I finally ended up getting a true liberal arts degree. My degree is in general studies, which I think is kind of an ugly, I don't really like the title of it, but my three main areas were philosophy, religion, and political science, which cracks me up. So clearly, my whole life I've been at this. I've been at this. But anyway, I was thinking about Descartes. I was thinking about thinkingness. And so sometimes recently during my meditations, I've been, when you take away the thinking, there seems to be this sense of like emptiness. Like not in the sense of something missingness, but sort of this emptiness. Like and I'm speaking only because I have to use the term, is more like a vessel, like a vessel than an actual like being. So, and that's why Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." Um, and so, because we have these thoughts, we think that these thoughts are like actually us. What makes us us? And and um and so the and I lost my train of thought again. Oh yes, about the iCloud, the talking about the collective conscience, the collective intelligence, of this iCloud that we tap into and we tap into, or maybe it's just always sort of there, and then when you meditate, you actually have this leaving that for a moment to just be, or not be. Anyway, but I had thought, and it may already be out there, I don't know, I don't know that if I've ever seen it, but I sort of like thought, I love, therefore I am. I love, therefore I am. Because it sort of seems like my thinking isn't actually indeed me, although I really do enjoy toying around with ideas, but that's not me. Anyway, but so getting back to my manifestation, wanting to manifest my dream life. I mean, I really would like to do that, and I'm bumping up against seeming reality a lot. And Abraham Hicks would talk about the contrast. The contrast, as in, your idea, your goal, or what they would call the vortex, the connection to God, the creative connection to God. They wouldn't necessarily call it God, they call it source, but and what is actually happening. And they would say to find satisfaction in the happening in your life, like whatever is happening, finding satisfaction in absolutely everything and absolutely everyone. I was listening to one of her videos recently where she said, if you're thinking about your mother, think of 10 positive aspects about your mother. If whatever you're thinking about, think of 10 positive aspects. You're in a hotel room, think about 10 positive aspects of your hotel room. And I just haven't quite figured out how to move into, because I feel like I'm in the now, but what ends up happening when I'm not quite in my dream life yet is I end up reverting to the past. And I'm just wondering if I'm not the only one who's doing this, who's trying to manifest. And and it's sort of like this has never been done before in my life. Like I mean, I may have been doing this, but it wasn't deliberate. And now I'm deliberately trying to create this new life. And so what ends up happening for me is I revert back to the past. And so I haven't quite figured out how to not do that. I have been trying to stay present, and I can for a period of time. I'm able to do that, and it seems like longer periods of time where I'm able to stay present and stay like in a really happy place, and then things just sort of bump me out of that. Like one of the biggest things that bumps me out is of my happy place is being sort of surrounded by people who do not share my vision. Like I have a vision of something, like, I'm just trying to say something kind of small, like my play group. I have this vision of my play group, but it's not collectively shared. And so what is ending up happening is I feel like because there's such a hodgepodge of energy and desire in that it has sort of muckied it all up. And the play group, hopefully it will come out the way that I was planning it to, but it certainly didn't this week. I mean, it went really well. It did go well, but it wasn't the way that I wanted it to be. So I feel like I didn't quite create that play group in the way that I would have wanted. And so that, and I'm not really sure what to do about that. Except to just maybe, I feel like Abraham Hicks would tell me to talk about it the least. Just don't talk about it with people, and just continue to try to stay in a satisfied and a happy place about it, because that's how I will better manifest what it is that I'm dreaming of. And I wanted to end with this. It's been a bit confusing to me because David Hawkins never talked about this in his works that I can recall, in everything I've ever read. He never talked about us being the creator of our reality. And I think that we are. I actually think that we are, because I sort of notice it. I sort of notice that when something happens that bumps me out of my happy place, so it bumps me out of my happy place, then like 5 things like happen right in a row. It's like, okay, wait, stop, It's I remember Abraham Hicks talking about how you got this snowball and it's at the top of a bank. You got this snowball, and when it collects momentum and it starts going down the hill, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. There comes a point where there's no return. I mean, not ultimately, because of course we can always return, but in the moment, where it's big and it's at the bottom of the hill. And so, and just learning how to not go down the bank, to leave it up here. Okay, so this happened, and try to not put as much weight on it, and try to be light about it, and it'll work out better next time. Everything is really great. Trusting in God, with the situation and surrendering it. And anyway, so I'm gonna go, and I am going to try to create a really great day. Anyway, I love you guys. Bye.